Dear students, let us start the discussion on today's newspaper, that is 16th July 2016. The first article is related to Uniform Civil Code. Now, why do you think India need a Uniform Civil Code? Now, this article provides for almost 9 points in support of Uniform Civil Code by Venkaiah Naidu. Now, the first thing is the constitutional mandate. In DPSP, Article 44 of the Constitution provides for Uniform Civil Code. It clearly states that the state shall endeavor to secure the citizens a uniform civil code throughout the country. It means the Uniform Civil Code was a stated objective at the time of constitutional framing itself. But the constitutional framers have kept in DPSP, it means that they are waiting for the right time to get it implemented. The second is, in India, our personal life is too much occupied by the personal laws. So, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar has clearly stated that the religion is given a too much of space in our legal terms or in our facets of life. And it is preventing the legislature to make the laws that are reformist. So, the liberty itself is a virtue and it is a fundamental right. It means many of the aspects of the personal laws are curtailing the liberties of the citizens. And the next is confusion across the laws is being created due to existence of multiple laws guiding the civil life. For a criminal law, you have one single law. Why can't we have the same thing for the civil law? Next, gender justice. Remember one point, there is no one single personal law which is complete and just in itself. It means every personal law has something against the woman. So if you want to end the patriarchy and gender equity, if it need to be achieved, we need to have the common law that bears on both women and men. In these circumstances, Goa has a common law, uniform civil code, or codified law, which was given by the Portuguese years back. Now, this particular law, it has provides for equal amount of income or equal sharing of income between husband, wife, and also the children. It do not differentiate between male and female children. So in this context, when it is successfully implemented in Goa, why it can't be implemented throughout the country is the question. And next is national integration. When entire country is experiencing the common laws in the civil life, it provides for loyalties to the law. So when the loyalties are being given, obviously it will promote the national unity and integration. And then on the interpretation perspective, the as of now existing personal laws, they do not represent the multiple dimensions of the laws, multiple dimensions of interpretations. So they are just a biased, one-sided view of the interpretation of the sacred texts. If you take talaq, so certain interpretation says that after expiry of all the other opportunities for engagement, then the talaq has to be the last step. It means minimum of 90 days have to be spent before talaq is being issued. Now, but however, finally the interpretation by Muslim Personal Law Board has led to a oral talaq. So in this context, we have to bring in a rationality in every personal law. An international example, if you see, the countries such as Pakistan, Morocco, Bangladesh, all these countries, they have uniform civil code. The liberal democracies such as France, US also have the uniform civil code. And then 80% of the population in India already is covered through a codified law. So Hindu Succession Act, Hindu Maintenance Act, or Hindu Inheritance Act, all these laws, Hindu Marriage Act, all these acts, these have provided for a codified law for Hindus. So it means, again, we need to be careful over here. Uniform Civil Code does not mean we are extending the codified Hindu law to the other religions. No. The Uniform Civil Code is about bringing the best international legal practices into India with regard to our civil life is concerned. Generally, the wrong orientation to the Uniform Civil Code is this. It has been interpreted as majority law being imposed on the minority religion. No. And the next is, the secular fabric of the country is not of having a single law for single religion. It is of having a common law for all religions. So from this definition, the religion shall play a minimal role in the administration and legal aspects of the country, then we need to bring in a common law as per the definition of secularism. Now, if you take various judicial pronouncements, either it is Shabano case, Sarla Mudgal versus Union of India case, or John Valamottam versus Union of India case. In all these cases, Supreme Court has clearly stated that the Parliament has to strive towards the Uniform Civil Code. But a caution is necessary. The education shall precede the reform. What does that mean? The minority shall not feel that a code of alien religion, that is majority religion, is being imposed onto them. If you take in the Sarla Mudgal case, the Supreme Court was also have given this cautious note. The Supreme Court has clearly said that a social climate has to be built first before a uniform civil code is to be taken up. And the next, if you remember, 2 days back we studied an article which says that the social transformation has to be gradual. First, instead of taking uniform civil code as a word, we can reform each and every law to the global practice. So Hindu practices, or else Muslim personal law or Christian personal law, we can reform it to the global practice. And after reforming it to the global practice, and then once the uniformity is approached, then we can bring in the uniform civil code. So this kind of gradualistic approach is suggested in Article 3 days back. Now coming to the freedom of farmer. Here we need to understand about Agricultural Produce Marketing Committees Act. The major problem is this: there are many intermediaries. The farmer, he has to sell it in the trader. So trader is a registered person with Agricultural Marketing Committee. So in a region X, if a crop is grown, it has to be sold only to the marketing committee in that particular area. It means you cannot sell it outside that particular marketing committee. So the first sale of contact has to be the marketing committee. Here marketing committees levy certain fees. State levies much more fees. If you take Andhra Pradesh, more than 14.5% of tax is levied, other than VAT, is levied by the state government. So the intermediaries and their profits are increasing, and also the taxes are increasing, and the freedom of the farmer to sell the crop at his determined price is decreasing. So in this context, the 2003, the government of India, it has sent a model APMC Act which it requested the state governments to enact and implement. Now in line with this, so the government of India recently gave a guidance that fruits and vegetables are the first place to start to reform the APMC Acts in the state. And Maharashtra government has started doing this. And obviously, as expected, there is a huge amount of repulsions from the traders. But Maharashtra government stood, and finally it allowed the farmers to directly sell the goods to the third vendors or else to a private individuals or application-based e-commerce sites, etc. So again, e-National Agricultural Market, e-NAM, by the union government, it is also to integrate all the markets in the country into one unified market. If one unified market is realized, it leads to price determinacy. And along with that, cooperative farming, and also providing for a private, single point levy. All these are the parts of the APMC Act, Model APMC Act. Again, the terror has come back to France. Now, why the France is a target? So this is the third attack in the year against the France. Now the reason is, the France is part of the coalition forces that are attacking or aerial bombing the ISIS in Syria. So in these circumstances, France also has highest Islam population who are ridden with poverty and who are also facing usual suspicion from the forces, especially the police force. So in this context, a kind of alienation is also visible in the French society. And the second thing is, the lone wolf attacks are a global phenomenon. So in this context, 2 days back we studied an article which says that the ISIS strategy has changed. It has got core and the periphery distanced from each other. It means that the core will develop an ideology or a hatred-made speeches which are being spread across the social media, and the people in the periphery gets influenced by it and they start attacking those particular countries. So it is using the citizens of that own country to attack its own people. So these are the lone wolf attacks which are rising. And there is no clue how it has to be stopped. It's impossible one way to stop that. Because the police cannot interpret or intersect the communication between the core and periphery. So the social media has become a new instrument in these threats. So in this context, the Bastille Day is almost kind of an Independence Day for France, where the people have stormed the Fort Bastille. So it's an important day in French Revolution. So in this context, on the very day, so a rogue element has killed 84 people in France. Now already the open borders, the Brexit, and economic crisis all has hit the Europe. So now the terrorism, repeated incidences of terrorism are going to create a havoc in the Europe now. Now coming to Interstate Council, the chief ministers are leaving to New Delhi. Now you know Article 263, it provides for Interstate Council, and it is in the spirit of cooperative federalism. So it is a platform where Prime Minister and his cabinet will meet with the chief ministers and they discuss the common points of concern between them. So last 10 years, no interstate council meeting was held. It is the first time in the 10 years it is happening. That's why it is important. Now you know that the first ARC has recommended the interstate council, or else the National Development Council has to be renamed as National Economic and Developmental Council and shall be given a constitutional status under Article 263. In this context, read about first ARC, second ARC, Anandpur Sahib, West Bengal Memorandum, Rajamannar Committee. So all these are center-state relations and various important committees. So Punchi recommendations. So try to go through them once. Now coming to Citizenship Act to be amended. Now in 2014, the Union has made a decision that any minorities in our neighborhood, if they are facing persecution, that is religious persecution, for Hindus or Sikhs in Punjab, or in the case of Hindus, in case of Bangladesh. So these people, if they migrate to India, India will be providing for citizenship. Or India will not detain them as illegal immigrants. In line with this, India is amending its Citizenship Act. Now, coming to Business Optimism Index, what it states is this. India has down to the third position in the Business Optimism Index. The reasons are this. The GST, which is an important tax reform, it is not yet being done. And also the bank conditions, they are not very strong. There is a huge non-performance assets on the banks after the asset quality review. And the third thing is, if you take the bilateral investment treaty, the Keynes Energy Limited and also the Vodafone, they have filed case against India in the arbitration, brought it to the international arbitration. These state and investor disputes, all these made India to slip to the third position with regard to the Business Optimism Index. Now, growth in exports. So India, in the month of June, it has increased its exports by 1.27%. It is a good news to India with certain ifs and buts. Let us see this why. Because the growth in exports has come up in non-labor intensive sectors, not in labor intensive sectors. But however, the recent reforms in textile and also incentives provided for the diamond polishing, these may provide for improvement in labor intensive sectors too, but it may take certain while. And the second thing is, with regard to the exports, most of these exports are due to revival to an extent in commodity prices and agricultural prices, the rise in agricultural prices. And after the Brexit, the currency variations, especially foreign exchange fluctuations, these are going to still worry the exports of India. Another thing we need to observe here is the exports increase appears to be due to low base effect. What is meant by low base effect? If you compare 2014-2015 June, 2015 June there was a rapid reduction in exports. So that's why on that basis, if we observe, it appeared that India has increased in its exports. So the low base effect can also be a reason to explain in the increase in exports. Now coming to why the recent violent movements have come up in Kashmir. So simple thing is this. Now, previously, there are two units, JKLF, Jammu Kashmir Liberation Front. It is asking for independence both from India and Pakistan for Kashmir. On the other hand, Hizbul Mujahideen, it is a pro-Pakistani party. Previously, it was the cross-border terrorism. Now, most of the people, the young generation, these are relatively grown in the peaceful era. But when they are in their teenagers, the collapse of talks around 2008, this has led to the slow revival of the terrorism or extremism in Kashmir. So these people got attracted then. And especially after 2014 elections, the issues that came for debate that have led to a huge sense of insecurity among the Kashmiris, this has led to this particular situation. Now coming to Manipur. Now the civil society in Manipur is offering the various benefits to women who bore more number of children. Why is this happening? The Manipurs feel that the outsiders are going to replace them and they are going to swallow their own land. So this has happened in Tripura. The native Tripura people have become minorities because of the exodus of immigration into Tripura. So in these circumstances, so the insecurity of losing their own clan, it is leading for more number of births and also increased pregnancies. This is what is about important news for today. So thank you very much. All the best.